In this video, we are going to go over how to graph absolute value functions with transformations, as well as write equations of absolute value functions. So if we look at this first graph is the parent function of absolute value. So the parent function of absolute value is going to start at 0, 0, and then it's going to have a slope of up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. We can also go up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. So absolute value is going to make a V shape. So the V in absolute value represents the shape of the graph. So now we're going to talk about how do we manipulate this graph or do transformations. So in this case, I have the same function, but now I have plus 2. This plus 2 means we're shifting the graph up 2. So instead of starting at 0, 0, I'm going to start up 2. But then I'm going to do the same pattern of up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1 to make the same pattern that I did for the original function. 3 is also similar, but now I have a minus 3 on the outside. So this means I'm going down 3. So now instead of starting at 0, 0, I'm going to start down 3. I'm going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. And the same up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1 to make that V shape. So when our number's on the outside, like this plus 2, I went up 2. When the number's on the outside, this one was minus 3, so I went down 3. All right, if we look at the next two examples, actually I'll keep one in there. When the number's on the inside, we're going to be shifting it left or right. So since this number's on the inside, it's plus 3. Plus 3 means I'm going to go left 3. So instead of starting at 0, 0, I'm going to start left 3. And I'm going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. I'm going to do the same thing on the left side. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. This graph, this minus 4, is telling me that I'm going to go right 4. So I'm going to go right 4, and then up 1 over 1, 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 up 1 over 1. Again, we're making that V shape. All right, what happens when we have a negative in front, such as this? What this does is it's a reflection over the x-axis. So our original graph was pointing up. I'm still going to start at 0, 0, but now instead of going up and over, I'm going to go down and over. So my V is going to look very similar. It's just going to be the mirror image over that x-axis. All right, and so we're going to put a couple things together. So this plus 3 on the inside means we're going left 3. This plus 4 on the outside means we're going down 4. So we're going to go left 3. Oh, I don't want to put the point there. Left 3, 1, 2, 3, and then also go down 4. So we're just doing two transformations in one. Once I get my starting point, I'm going to do the same thing. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. All right, let's talk about what a number in front other than a negative does. So now I have a 2 in front. So what this 2 in front does is it's going to change the slope to be up 2 out 1. So now instead of going up 1 over 1, still going to start at 0, 0 in this case because I don't have any other shift. I just have the 2. Instead of going up 1 over 1 and putting my first point there, I'm actually going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Same on the other side. Up 2 out 1, up 2 out 1. So that number does is it makes it more steep, and it's going to change it that I'm going up 2 over 1 instead of just up 1 over 1. So if we're putting it all together, if I was going to try first I'm going to move with this -5. So first I'm going to go right 5. We always want to shift first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then this 2 in front is going to change my slope. So instead of going up 1 over 1, I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. All right, so let's give this a try by now graphing this one as well. So this -4 on the inside means I'm going right 4. This -2 on the outside means I'm going down 2. So I'm going to go right 4, down 2, put my starting point. So then it asks something here called, what is the vertex? The vertex is just the starting point. So my starting point is at +4, -2. So my vertex, again, this is just my starting point after my shifts. Then it asks, is this a minimum or maximum? Well, let's think about this. Let me graph it really quick. So my slope is just going to be normal because there's no number in front of my absolute value here. So I just know there's a 1. So my slope is just going to be up 1 over 1. So it's asking if this point right here, that is my vertex, if that's a minimum or maximum. Well, it's a lowest point, but the arrow is pointing up, so it's a minimum. All right, now let's work backwards. Instead of graphing, let's write the equation of the graph. So the first thing we're always going to do is compare our starting point to 0, 0. So in this case, I can see that I went right 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I went down 3. So what does that look like with an equation? Well, y is going to equal the absolute value of x. Right goes on the inside as -4. Down is going to go on the outside as -3. And then let's just check, make sure my slope is, so here's my starting point, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So it's just the normal slope, so I don't need to worry about putting a number in front here. All right, let's try this with this next one. So my starting point is here. Again, I want to compare 0, 0 to here. So I went left 2, and then up 4. So left goes on the inside, x plus 2, because left is plus 2. Up goes on the outside, so plus 4. But now I can see that my graph is pointing down. So I know there's going to be a negative on the outside here. But I got to figure out what that slope is. So I want to compare my starting point to the next point that I can see, and it looks like I go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. So I know my slope is going to be -2. Or you could write -2 over 1, but it would reduce to -2. And so that's what that equation would look like. So let's talk about what our general formula is going to look like. So if I have y equals, I'm going to have plus or minus some a value in front. Okay, if there's a negative a value, a negative a means we have a reflection. And if our a number is something other than 1, that's going to affect the slope of the line. Then we have the absolute value of x plus or minus some h number. This h number is moving left or right. Plus is left, minus is right. Then at the end, we're going to have this plus or minus a k number. This k number is up or down. If it's plus, it's up. If it's minus, it's down. All right, so for reference, I copied and pasted what we wrote on the other page so we can use this to help us. So now we're going to work backwards, and I'm going to give you the equation and I want you to describe the transformation. So meaning left, right, up, down. So the first thing I notice about this is there's a negative in front. And so a negative in front tells me that there's going to be a reflection. So the first thing I would say is, oh, there's going to be a reflection. The next thing I notice is this plus 3. If I have a plus 3 on the inside, well, inside is always left or right. If it's a plus, then I know it's going to be left. So my next transformation would be left 3. Then I have a plus 5 on the outside. Plus on the outside would mean up. So my last transformation would be up 5. Similarly, first thing I notice is this 2 on the outside. If I have a number on the outside, it's going to affect the slope. So my slope is going to be 2. Then I have this minus 4. Well, minus on the inside means it's going to go right. So right 4. And then I have this plus 1 on the outside. Well, plus on the outside is up again. So my last transformation is going to be up 1. All right, let's put this all together and let's try this last problem. So if I look at this equation, I have a plus 3 and a minus 2. So that tells me I'm going left 3, down 2. So I'm going to go left 3, down 2. I don't have any number in front here, so I know that my slope is just 1. So up and over 1, up and over 1 to make that V shape. My vertex is just my starting point. I started right here, so that was negative 3, negative 2. And is this a max or minimum? Well, because my starting point is the lowest point and it just goes up from there, it's a minimum.